Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball, episode 4 of our 30 breakdowns in 30 days. Today, we continue with the American League East, and we go down to Florida to visit the Tampa Rays. Before I let John really jump into it, let's give a quick little history of the Tampa Bay Rays. They have not been around for very long. They're one of the newer teams, obviously, with the name change at Tampa
I believe it's
Bay.
year 25.
I'm sorry, what?
I think it's year 25 this year, I believe.
Yep. They have made the playoffs the last 4 years. So last year they went 86 and 76. They lost the wild card last year. The year before the ALDS. The year before that in 2020 they did lose in the World Series. Last year with the Tampa Bay Rays, again, their manager is Kevin Cash. He's been there for a few years, and every year the Tampa Bay Rays, they don't spend much money, but they are always competitive due to their drafting and their superior pitching, which goes back now probably, I think, when the resurgence, would you say, John, about 2008 when they really started kicking in gear?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's say before that, they're kind of the laughing stock, but 2008 they made the World Series after not making the playoffs ever. And they've always been competitive. They haven't always been the best team, but they've always been competitive. They just don't spend money, and it's hard to compete in the AL East like that. But without further ado, John, I'll let you go through the stats, and we can come and jump into the Rays here.
Well, with Tampa, the only major acquisition in the offseason I saw was Zach Eflin, who was with the Phillies. He had, about 7 starts last year. I take that back, 13 starts. 4.04 ERA, 112 WHIP, which is not bad. He's a big 6'6" right-handed pitcher. I think he's going to slot into as a 4th or 5th starter this year. And other than that, the only major acquisition they had was nothing that I saw.
Let me add something there. You say no acquisitions. There's one, and I know we kind of just talked about him. He's hurt right now, but looking on the rotation last year without Glass now, again, he's hurt. He's 6 to 8 weeks here. But if they add him on that pitching staff, get rid of Corey Kluber and then Glass now in there, they're going to have. I mean, that staff last year was exceptional. McClanahan, we'll get into it. I'll just say Glass now is something I would look at if he's healthy, going to be a major addition for him.
Yeah, big 6'8" Glass now. He's a really good pitcher, but what's it like 2 years? He really hadn't pitched much.
Yep.
So I don't know. For them, I like him. He's a really good pitcher. With him, I guess you want to go right to the rotation since we're talking pitchers.
Yeah, I think with the Rays, you always have to talk rotation first.
Well, McClanahan, I think you stop and start there. That guy, I've watched him. He is amazing. He had a whip under 1 last year. He throws 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He strikes out more than 1 inning. He's a star.
He's from the Fort Myers area too, by the way. Just a good little tidbit. He went to high school in that area.
Yeah, 2.54 ERA last year. And I seen him pitch some games, and he was tough. They couldn't hardly touch him. But after him,
as well.
Yeah. After him, it was going to be Glass now, but he's another one that throws in the high 90s. But he came back last year. He had Tommy John. He came back last September. So who knows what you can get out of him?
You got Drew Rasmussen, who had a 2.8 in 28 games.
Yeah. He throws 95. Got a cutter, fastball, slider. He had been a relief man a lot, and then last year he started starting quite a bit and doing good.
Almost 30 games last year he started.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I mentioned Eflin. He should be in there. But how about Jeffrey Springs? I believe he was a washout with the Rangers. But last year he had a 2.46 ERA and 25 starts, a 107 whip. These are good numbers. He's a lefty. They got a rotation. Now, looking down the roster, since Glasnow's out, I was wondering, Taj Bradley, he's one of their prize rookies, prospects, probably their number 1. He had 12 starts in AAA, good whip in the minors, 2.61 ERA his career in the minors. So he's on the fast track. Who knows? He's 21 years old when the season starts, or 22. Right-handed pitcher. He may take the spot there. of glass now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they're going to go as far as their pitching this year,
well,
I
their
believe.
pitching's good. Then they got guy got like 7 starts last year. Jalen Beeks, left-hander.
Hmm.
He had a 2.8 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. Strikes out more than one per inning. Let's see, control wise, Beeks he walks 3 per 9, but not bad. But he's another one. I mean, they you just go down the rotation here. It's amazing. And then I guess let's go down. And then they got Luis Patino. They thought he was going to be a big deal at one time, but it hasn't happened. He could
Yeah.
fit into that rotation. Then I guess if you want to go bullpen, you can handle that, or I'll go over it. Their bullpen's good. Everything about their pitching's good. And if you got pitching, they're going to be competitive. They are every year. And I could easily see them win the division. Did they not win it 2 years ago?
Well, they made in 2020 their World Series run. American League
Yeah,
Independent.
yeah. They're they do an amazing job. They
Yeah.
this
Absolutely.
development. A lot of people they got Rasmussen.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump straight into their. You're breaking up a little bit there, so I'll kind of will go over their quick little rotation here. So we got Pete Fairbanks. He's a 29-year-old guy they acquired from a trade here. He's going to be in the bullpen form. And then if we go ahead and take a look at Fairbanks, he is the right-handed pitcher with the Rays. You're always going to need a decent, good relief pitcher there. We can see my stats are failing me at the moment. But then, again, we got Jalen Big Strong, Armstrong, everything like that. But Pete Fairbanks, here we go. He had 8 saves last year. Had the 1.1 ERA. He didn't pitch much last year, but he is a projected starter for them out of the closing role.
Who is that?
Pete Fairbanks.
Yeah, and Fairbanks. I believe they just signed him to a long-term contract. Is that what you said?
No, I was just kind of talking some other things about him.
Yeah, because his WHIP in a limited role last year, 24 games, was 0.67. They had me done put
to be a top
on
closer
base
in the league, not just the American League.
Yeah. Josh Fleming was on there, but I seem to think he may have left. I'm not sure. They get Shane Baz or Baz. I believe he is hurt. He's one of their big prospect pitchers.
Yeah.
Ryan Thompson pitched a lot, big right-hander out of the bullpen. He's like 47 games. Colin Pache's coming back. He's been an effective pitcher in the past for him. He didn't play last year. I imagine he was hurt. Yeah, I guess that's. I mean, what else can you say about the pitching? There's a lot of it.
Yeah, and then we can kind of just go ahead and jump into position by position here. We start off with the catcher. The projected starter is going to be Christian Betancourt. He's going to be a 31-year-old catcher from Panama who's never really been too much with the bat. His career 230 hitter. Last year for the Rays, he actually hit better than his career average. He hit 255, but in very limited time with the Rays.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of pop too. I think he had 11 home runs, 300 some at bats. So he's got a little bit of power.
Yeah, absolutely. So, he's going to be serviceable behind the plate for him here. Moving on after him, the backup catcher, we got Francisco
Mejia.
Thank you. He was there last year as well. Again, they're more so, I think, defensive-minded as opposed to offensive-minded guys back there. And then first base, we will start off.
But the catchers, defensively, they're probably average. Not a great deal of power, but they're solid framers. I did pick on that.
Yeah.
Now, first base,
Yandy
what are you
Diaz.
thinking there? I'm hearing Aranda, the rookie, and Yandy Diaz will probably play there. Yandy Diaz probably go between first and third, but Aranda is a left-hander, and he got limited action, didn't really produce. Diaz, no power at all.
He's still a solid average hitter, though.
Yeah, but no power at all.
But yeah, in first or third, it doesn't matter where you go. You need power, I believe. He played 137 games this year, still hit 296, so he definitely gets on bases. On base percentage actually led the team with 401 on base, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then when you go on to second, you got Brandon Lau.
Yep.
He had a
He was
down year.
solid last year. Or no, he didn't win solid last year. His on base is only 308. He hit 221. So, and again, not much pop at all for him. It was very
Well,
limited action last year, only 65 games though.
he'll be 29 this year. We're starting to see a downward trend. He should still be in his peak years, right?
He should be in his peak years.
He didn't play a lot last year. He's injured, 235 at bats. The year before he had a good year. So he may bounce
He's been
back.
on a downward projection since 19. So in 2019, his only All Star year, he hit 270. Then it was 269, 247, 221. So he's definitely on a downward trajectory. He did have the uptick in power, a massive uptick in 2021. He hit 39 home runs, 99 RBIs, which that's really the only season he's played a full season. Apart from that, he's never played more than 82 games.
I'll tell you something else in my research I found out and from watching him play. He's not a stud defensive player. There's what I'm hearing, since they're not going to have the shift anymore, that may expose him defensively. So yeah, he may have to move.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think I would say he's more of a liability in the lineup as opposed to someone who's going to be a player that you can really rely on because he's not good in the glove and his offense is really trending downward, which is what we're projecting as well.
And last year it was a back injury that kept him out.
Yeah,
but he's still
30. Go ahead.
39 home runs in the last 2 years.
Then we'll go ahead and go to third base here, and it looks like Isaac Paredes is going to be their starter. With Isaac Paredes, you're going to get a guy who is not a very good average hitter, with him only hitting 205 last year for Tampa. The other years of his career was spent in Detroit with very, very limited experience, but he's just a 209 career hitter. He did have some decent pop last year, though, hit 20 home runs, which surprised him with only 45 RBIs, which kind of that's odd to me, 20 home runs and 45 RBIs.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. But then we keep on moving here. We'll go ahead and look at their shortstop, which last season their shortstop was Taylor Walls. Yeah. Wander Franco this year is going to be headed there, which I know a lot of people were pretty high on Wander Franco. Last year he hit 277, limited time, pretty much just half the year. Really no power with only 6 home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with Wander, the projections this year, hopefully he stays healthy for the full season. We're seeing him around the 280 average for him, and it's just a lot of people expect him to do a lot of good things. He just turned 22, so he's very young still. A lot of bright years, ideally, for Wander Franco when you see him. With his fielding percentage as well, last season at 72 games at shortstop, it was just 980, 5 errors, which is decent, but at the hot corner. Especially I think with shortstop being such a premier position, so many superstars in the league, his power is really going to have to come up for him to get a lot of recognition.
Well, he's 22. I think that's going to happen. He's got superstar written all over him, I believe, when he can play the whole year. He's had, like I said, pretty darn good numbers in 2 years. Last year, he still batted 277. I mean, you can't argue with that. He projects out to be like a 12 to 15 home run guy, but I think that's going to come around a little bit. He's young.
Yeah, like I said, he just turned 22 2 days ago, so hopefully there's a lot more power there for him. Again, that's what he's going to need to have power at that position to stand out.
Right. And then a guy who plays around a little bit in the infield is Taylor Walls. He's not much of a hitter there, buddy.
No.
He 407 at bats. He batted 172. Wow, how do he stay in the lineup? I don't. Now, what about Vidal Brujan? He came up. I think he's fairly young.
He's 25.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't play a lot, and he didn't hit. Him and Wall, when I say they're glove first kind of guys, they better be that average.
Bruyan only hit 163 last year, that's probably one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead to your outfield.
Yeah, we got. We'll just go three guys right here. What we're looking at, we got Randy Arozarena at left field, Jose Siri at center field, Manuel Margot in right field.
Yeah, and what you think Josh Lowe will break through this year? You know, the Low guys. Lowe, his brother is. Any idea? Didn't he start in first base in Texas?
Arguably one of the better top 5 first basemen in the league for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. You know, they started out with him playing in the outfield last year, and he just another guy. I mean, how many guys can hit? He hit 221. How many of these guys can they have like in the lineup? Him, Walls. I mean, it's going to catch up when first base doesn't look like it's going to be very productive, most likely.
So Arozarena is a solid hitter. I mean, he's a 260 kind of guy, 270 career average. I mean, he's got some pop.
Arozarena, didn't he drop down a little bit from the year before?
Well, yeah, he hit 263 from 274. He's only going to be 28, so he should be in the prime of his career. He's a threat on the bases as well. You're going to get 20 home runs, at least 20 stolen bases out of him per year, probably around 30 to 35 stolen bases this year.
Did you realize he was thrown out more than anybody last year? Although he still had 32 steals, but
he's been you
know what?
22 times last 2 years.
Well, I watched a lot of ALE. I mean, I think he's overrated. I mean, his numbers don't scream star to me. But you remember the World Series he had after that, everybody said, oh my goodness, Arozarena is the greatest thing since crunchy peanut butter, but he's not. He's good, don't get me wrong. But I mean, did his numbers scream superstar to you?
No, I've seen solid player, but not superstar.
Right. 586 bats, he had 20 home runs, not big power. He did drive at 89, that's good. This is still 32, but he batted 263 last year. I mean, you know, OBP was 327, OPS 773. That's all right. But and the rest of their outfielders, Margot's, I think he's a good fielder, but
he had 274 last year, which is decent. One person I think could potentially hurt him more so in the field than anything, and probably the leadership role is losing Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, but he's another guy that could hit. I mean, how much could they hit?
Yeah.
But Margot only slugged 375 last year. How old is Margot now?
He'll be 28. He's 28 season.
But they're heavy right hand. Everybody's a right-handed hitter now. Their catchers are right-handers. Well, he is a switch hitter, but Frank is a switch hitter. That's good. He is a righty. Left.
Yeah.
They're pretty right heavy.
Yeah, for sure. And then if we go ahead and move to their DH, we got Harold Ramirez, who did hit 300 last year. He's a career 281 hitter. He's been on 3 different teams now in only 4 years, so that might be a little bit telling as well. Last year was a career year for him. Before that, he was really limited role. He only played 3 games in 2020. Before that, 120 games, and 2 years ago, only less than 100 games. So
no power.
Yeah, not much power. He's going to be lucky to get in the double digits, but if he's a 280 to 290 hitter, he's still young. He'll just turn, he's 28 now, so he will. He is what he is. You know what you're going to get out of him. Not much power, but he's a pretty good on base kind of guy.
Well, moving on, but that pretty much. Oh, well, I was going to move on to the manager, but prospects. Well, I touched on Bradley. Great numbers, 12 starts at AAA, 261 career ERA in the minors. So he's a right-handed pitcher. Let's see. He has a 89 to 91 mile an hour split. He throws a cutter, 94 to 96 mile an hour fastball. And then, from what I understand, he has a curveball, but it's not much. It's just there for show,
Yep.
But he looks like he may be something. We'll find out. I would assume if he doesn't come up flat, he'll be in Durham. But I tell you, someone else I did some homework on is rated pretty high is Curtis Mead, and he's an Australian. He's played, from what I gathered, I got him playing in his career in the minors everywhere in the infield, all four positions.
Yep.
Line drive hitter, not a lot of power, good defender. Um, see, he doesn't swing. Excuse me, he doesn't swing and miss much. They think his power is going to come.
He hit
So
298 last year in the minors in double and triple A. With triple A in Durham, he hit 278, which is good. I mean, he hit 305 in double A. He's very skinny. He's maybe add some weight. He's only at 170 pounds at 6'2", so he's very skinny.
yeah, wow, yeah. Well, if he fills in, maybe he'll get a little more power. And what's his age? Oh,
He's
shut. He won't
22, born in
22.
2000. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did he end up doing in AAA? Do you have that breakdown?
Yeah, I do. So in Triple A last year, he hit 278, 376 on base. He only played 20 games, just 75 bats, but 20 hits. So very limited role. Obviously, I believe he's going to start there again,
Yeah, I would think.
unless he just explodes this spring. But one thing I think is a little concerning with the Rays and their prospects. Now, their prospect rankings, their top 10, pretty much consensus across the board, they're always going to be a top 10 prospect team. Looking at their guys here, they're young, low-level guys. So you have Taj Bradley, Curtis Mead. They have the potential this year to make it. So take them out of it. Then Carson Williams, who's 19, he's only been in A-ball. Kyle Manzardo, double A. Junior Caminero, A-ball. Mason Montgomery, double A. Mason Hour, A-ball. Cole Wilcox, A-ball. Xavier Isaac, rookie ball. Willie Vasquez, A-ball. So they're really low-level minor league guys. So it might be talented minor leagues, but how long is it going to take them to get to Tampa?
Right. They well, maybe they'll. I don't know. They
know what they're doing there. Obviously,
Kevin Cash gets a lot out of them. He makes everything work. I mean, I guess he knows how they do it, and he makes it work.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, when their team's healthy, they do pretty good. So they could easily win a division, in my estimation. I'm not saying they will, but they could.
I think there's so.
They also could drop behind the Orioles too.
That's our projection. They're going to. We're projecting on our on BKB that they are going to drop behind the Orioles.
What's the saying about a house of cards? It eventually tumbles and falls down. That's kind of what they do.
Well, I just feel like with them, there's not enough hitting. Pitching, yes, but you still have to score runs, and I don't think they have enough guys. Like when we're going through the player by player, there's two guys who hit around 300. And I know today's game's different, but there's no guys there apart from Lau, who 2 years ago hit 39. There's no guys who are hitting 30 home runs or more. So they don't necessarily have a monster power hitter, and they don't have many average guys either. So scoring runs, I think it's going to be difficult for them, especially in such a competitive division. I think they really look to me and scream a 500 team to me.
Yeah. Well, I can see it.
That's why I have them projected 80 wins and 82 losses.
I can see it. Yeah. And who's their? Let's see. Do they have a general manager? They just say Eric Neander's in charge of baseball operations. That's what I hear. So I mean, obviously they draft pretty good. So
yeah, every year they draft good. They're always going to be a competitive team, but I hope they don't. Hope the Orioles don't turn into them where they don't want to get many big free agents. They'll always be competitive, but they've never won the big game because they don't spend money.
No.
And it has to be a mixture. I believe it has to be a good mixture.
Could you say there's any superstars in that team? They say Wander Franco may be, but he's not yet.
Maybe pitching superstars, but offensively, no. I don't see any.
McClanahan, but other than that, I don't. And Glass now, if you ever play.
Is there any positions on their team that player is the best at his position, even in the division?
Other than the left-handed pitching and McClanahan, that starting pitcher, I don't know.
He's not even this best. They're not the best pitchers. I would say you'd probably have to go with Garrett Cole or Rodon as the best pitchers in the league. But then you got.
I'd take McClanahan over Rodon any day of the week. If you've seen him pitch like I have, he's.
I'm just saying. There's no one on their team though that you would say is the best at their position in the AL East, let alone the American League.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
And with the Orioles, Yankees, and Blue Jays, maybe even the Red Sox with probably not the Red Sox, but there's arguments to be made. A couple guys with the bet like Adley Rutschman, there's a damn good argument that he's the best catcher in baseball. You know,
I'd
and
say
there's an
definitely
argument that Judge is the best player in baseball.
right,
There's arguments for all these other teams. There's no argument for the Rays. They have a team of solid players. That's why I have them a 500 team.
right. Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on the Rays before we shut her down for the day?
No, I think we covered it. I mean, they could win a division, or they could end up fifth or fourth. I don't think you're going to be fifth. I'm not. I just don't think the Red Sox.
Red Sox have they might have a bottom out year, I believe.
Yeah, I like us. Well, let's not talk about them, but yeah,
We already covered them.
Tampa. I will say one thing. It's kind of off topic, but did you see their hats the other day? Because they're playing spring training in Orlando at Disney. Most of their spring training games, or a good portion of them, they got an O for Orlando on their spring training hats.
Really?
Nice. I need to get one of those. That's pretty cool because that's a nice stadium at Disney. I don't.
Yeah.
Braves left it, but I've been there. I really like it.
And it's a shame with the storm what happened to their old stadium.
In Port Charlotte.
We've seen a couple there, and
we've been there.
It's a nice. It's as far as Florida complexes go, it's a decent one. I'm a little biased. I think Fort Myers is the best one. Best two. Fort Myers is the best two in there. But
and I'm kind of partial to Sarasota. But anyway,
we need to have a show about ranking spring training facilities because we've been at quite a few.
Hey, I know this is about projections of the teams and all, but I just wanted to say one thing I saw today. Did you see what the Red Sox did in the outfield today when Joey Gallo came up?
I did. They're trying to cheat the system.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. What can baseball do? Excuse me.
Because it's the same thing. I think Gallo and these left-handed batters need to adapt better. They need to become better baseball players. If they're not going to put someone in left field, then that's stupid on the defense. Don't get mad at the defense for doing it. They're being stupid. They need to adapt and hit the ball to left field.
Yeah, because I know I didn't play professional baseball, of course, but I know when I did play.
You played some MLB The Show, though.
Yeah, that makes me good. I won World Series there. I'm a World Series winning manager. Yeah. But anyway, and I managed fantasy teams. So, hey, but no, I'm saying, but I know was never at that level, but when you wanted to place it, if I wanted to go the opposite way sometime or I would just, hold up for a tick, and if I was batting left-handed, right-handed, I want to go to right. I just hold up for a tick and try to drive it to the right, instead of getting ready to swing, just a flash, and boom.
They're talented enough to do that. I mean, it sounds hard to a normal person, but some of the things
they're way more talented than I'll ever be in baseball. And I mean, they're some of the greatest athletes in the world. Because try to hit a baseball, I know. Well, that's another episode too about who's the best athletes because that could go a lot of ways.
Let's not get too carried away here. I know it's getting a little long. They're supposed to be with the Rays, so let's go ahead and sign it off. And then I know we're back tomorrow with the final episode of the American League East, Toronto Blue Jays. Looking forward to that episode. I think it's a lot to discuss with the Blue Jays. I think they do have a talented team, and we're going to talk about it in a pretty good. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, I know there might have been some technical difficulties with some breaking in, breaking out earlier. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Hopefully we didn't embarrass ourselves too much. But John, let's go ahead and do the sign off, and we can get out of here and let the people have have their day back. But just come back tomorrow again, and we'll just remind everyone to like it, share it, subscribe it, comment on it, anything. All that helps us. Helps us grow the page. If you have any suggestions, please just leave them on our comments on YouTube. I'll respond to it. Like us on Instagram, like our pages, interact with us. We'll have some live streams on YouTube, things like that. So YouTube page is just getting going. Really excited about that. One thing I did want to notice, I know I forgot to do it last episode. The American League 30 for 30 breakdowns in 30 days is sponsored by Jane's Creations. She will have a page on our website. You'll see it pretty soon. She's going to be making something custom for us, putting it up here behind us. You guys can see it all the time. She makes wreaths, she makes blankets, anything like that. Some cool craft items as well. You can find her on Facebook, Jane's Creations. But John, go ahead and hit the sign off.
All right. That's all for now, folks. We'll see you next time on Brooks Knows Baseball.
Good night.
Good night.